I have seen beyond. Be silent.
I need more mana.
Meaning
Is an illusion. Everlasting fire.
Take this.
When I'm ready and not.
Do what I say.
Caretaker, to me. The living toy must enjoy our contests, or it continues to play. Disintegration, cleansing, incineration, improbable.
Intense, unstoppable agony.
When I'm ready and not. When I'm ready and not before.
Hey guys, what's up? Dan here with an Arakaali's Fang Occultist build guide update for the 3.22 trial of the Ancestors League. As some of you guys know, this league, the Fang is not gonna be my main build, but since a lot of you were worried about the Temporal Chains nerf, I decided to make this a showcase, and we're also gonna take a quick look at the 3 PoBs. We lost a little bit of DPS with the Temporal Chains nerf, but it's not gonna be noticeable in mapping. UBERS seem to take a little bit longer, but just a few extra seconds. Please keep in mind, all UBERS showcases were done without Mageblood. Our survivability is amazing in mapping, but versus UBERS, since we don't have a spell suppression, you're gonna have to time your Molten Shell and your instant life flask properly if you want to complete these UBER endgame encounters. The build is a really fun, whacking and exploding simulator with a lot of damage, defenses and quality of life features. It's also a build that I managed to take to level 100 solo 2 times so far, guys. On the screen right now, you're gonna get a lot of information, so if you're new on the channel, maybe pause the video. And if you need a full build guide, everything explained in detail, then take a look at the video that I made in the previous league. The build is the same, the only thing that I would change would be maybe to not go for a Quicksilver Flask of the Cheetah, since it has a small duration, and instead go with another Quicksilver, something that is gonna last a bit more per use to make a mapping a bit smoother. Let's jump into the PoBs. Okay boys, and this is the low budget PoB. We have around 5.5 million DPS. We lost a little bit of damage due to the Temporal Chains nerf, but you're not gonna notice it in mapping. This is our configuration tab, really important if you haven't played this build in the past. Enemy on low life, 15 Wither stacks, Guardian, Pinnacle Boss, 4 Endurance charges, and we have used the minion skill recently. This is our max DPS, and if we remove the enemy on low life config right here, and also let's disable Temporal Chains, let's also disable the Vaal Haste. As you can see, we have around 3 million DPS, which I would say is more than enough to comfortably farm tier 16 maps. Let's take a quick look at our items. It's a full unique, almost full unique setup with the exception of 2 rings, and we have some Ghastly Eye jewels here, a lot of really nice budget stuff. As you can see, the Ghastly Eye jewels just have 10% to all elemental resistances, and that's pretty much it guys, okay? Other mods that are not that expensive, a little bit of stats, but what you want to get is total to all elemental resistance for the Ghastly Eye jewels, and you want the minions deal percentage increased damage if you have used the minion skill recently. These are a little bit expensive, I am not gonna use them for the low budget version. Now, in case you don't have the currency to buy an Aegis Aurora, which is around the 6 divines right now, you can buy a cheap life on block shield for 50-100 kills depending on what you can find on the market. And in case you don't have the currency to buy a brass dome with 4%, although it's really cheap guys, it's a 60 kills, so you should try to get this really nice armor right here. You can also go for a cheap armor with elemental resistances, and preferably some base armor as well, so that you're gonna be at around probably 30k armor, but once you get your brass dome, as you can see, we have around 50k. This is pretty much all that there's to know about this low budget PoB. The total cost of this build is around 10 divines, but without the Aegis Aurora, which is 6 divines, you're gonna be able to assemble this build for around 4. Let's take a quick look at the medium budget PoB. And this is the 14 million DPS setup. We have better items here guys. As you can see, Ghastly Eye jewels with a total to all elemental resistances, additional physical damage, and minions deal percentage increased damage if we have used the minion skill recently. A lot of Ghastly Eye jewels have these mods right here. And besides that, we have an extra meta cluster. We used to have one in the previous version, and now we have a second one guys. We have 3% increased attack and cast speed, 35% increased effect, minions deal 10% increased damage. These right here are really important. I would not start playing an Arakaali's Fang Occultist without at least one of these large clusters. For this reason, in the previous PoB, I have included one of these. You're gonna notice a DPS increase when you use these meta clusters. You're gonna need 2 of them preferably to have a really nice DPS. And what you have to keep in mind is that the 12 passive ones are extremely expensive, but the ones with 10-11 passives are not that expensive. They are around 1, maybe 2 divines. Now, once you get to around, I'd say 14, maybe 12 million PoB DPS on the full DPS configuration, guys, my recommendation would be to take a look at your main skill right here, and instead of going for Awakened Unbound Ailments, use a Divergent Melee Splash, which is gonna feel a lot better when mapping. Remove the Awakened Unbound Ailments when mapping, and only use it for endgame boss fights or maybe for invitations. Divergent Melee Splash is gonna feel really nice. You don't really need that much DPS. I have tested Divergent Melee Splash with this setup, and it was absolutely insane. The map clear is amazing, boys. But I'm not sure how well it's gonna work out on the low budget version. So maybe try it out. However, I would say just use Awakened Unbound Ailments until you manage to get to this version. And once you get to this version, use Divergent Melee Splash when mapping, and you're gonna have a lot of fun. This setup right here is gonna cost you around 30 divines, 25-30 divines, depending on what you can find on the market right now. This is probably the best setup that most of you watching this video should aim for. If you're gonna get this, you're gonna be really happy, and the build is gonna feel absolutely amazing when playing it. Now let's take a quick look at the expensive version. This is the expensive version of the build. We have around 47 million DPS. We are reaching poison cap. Any DPS past the poison cap, you're only gonna notice it when you're going for endgame Uber boss fights. Let's take a quick look at the items. We have a Squire here, guys, but as you can see, our defenses have gone down quite a lot. What exactly can we do to have a sort of, let's say, the best of both worlds? We summon the spiders with the Squire, and we're gonna snapshot their damage for 55 seconds, and then we weapon swap to Aegis Aurora, and we go up to around 500,000 EHP. This is gonna feel really nice, and this is my recommendation. If you don't want to change all of the items in the build and basically go for a full rare setup with the crafted rares with spell separation, you know, all that nice expensive stuff, just slap a Squire on here, summon the spiders with the Squire, and weapon swap to Aegis Aurora. As you can see, we are level 100 and we have transitioned into true blow, guys. We don't have a glancing blows anymore. This is the reason why our EHP is so big, guys, at around 500,000. So we're gonna use these nodes right here and these right here, and we're gonna transition into a true block setup. We also have the red nightmare. As you can see, 59 block chance, and without it we have 44. You can probably get a bit more block chance by using the tattoos that change these nodes into some resistance, fire resistance preferably, or elemental resistance, as you can see here. But you don't really need to do that. The build is more than enough in this current setup. This was the Fang update for the 3.22 Trial of the Ancestors League. You're gonna find all PoBs on the PoB Vault website. If you decide to go with this build, it's not gonna disappoint you and you're gonna have a lot of fun. If you'd like to play something a bit different but still minions, then stop by the channel. I'm gonna make a build guide update for the endgame minion army necromancer. Can't wait to show you guys the finished build. I hope this video helped you out a little bit. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. PoB reviews available to channel members as always. Thank you for watching. Good luck and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.